Most people think that sexual abstinence is weakness, but for a chosen one, it is the exact opposite. What if I told you that when you go without sex, your energy does not fade away, it multiplies? What if the loneliness you feel late at night, the strange dreams that shake your sleep, the sudden waves of heat rising through your body, are not random at all, but signs of a sacred transformation that only a few on this earth will ever understand? You were not created to waste your energy in the same way the world does. You were created to carry a mantle of power that requires discipline, separation, and fire. Every moment you resist the pull of the flesh, something invisible is being built within you. You are not losing anything. You are gaining access to dimensions that others will never touch. That tightness in your chest, that vibration in your spine, those visions that feel too real to be dreams, are confirmations from heaven that you are crossing into a new spiritual level. And here is the forbidden truth. The world will never tell you this, because if every chosen one knew the secret locked inside abstinence, the entire system of control would collapse. Stay here, because in the next minutes, I will reveal mysteries about your sexual energy that 99% of people are not ready to hear. But if you made it this far, it is because your soul has been prepared to receive them. Before we go deeper, I need you to press like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and comment the number 99 below. Why 99? Because in the spirit it means that nothing is missing, you are already complete, and what God started in you, He will finish. This comment is not just interaction, it is a declaration of your alignment with the divine. When a chosen one enters abstinence, the world believes your desire fades, that your drive weakens, that something inside you dies. But that is the great deception. Nothing is dying within you. In fact, something far more powerful is being born. Your sexual energy, that primal fire that humanity has used for pleasure, for impulse, for temporary satisfaction, begins to change form inside your vessel. It does not vanish into nothingness. It is not suppressed into silence. It is redirected. It rises like a current of fire, moving upward through your spine, as if invisible hands are guiding it toward higher realms of your being. This is not imagination. This is not a psychological trick. This is transmutation, the rare process where what once belonged to the flesh becomes pure fuel for the spirit. At first, it feels confusing. You may notice heat in your back, in the base of your spine, pulsing as if something ancient has awakened. Your body shakes, your heart races for no clear reason. Your skin feels alive, buzzing, vibrating, as though electricity is coursing through you. These are not illnesses. These are not random nerves. These are the codes of awakening, the unmistakable signs that God is rewiring you for something extraordinary. While the rest of the world drains their energy into fleeting pleasures, yours is being stored, multiplied, and transformed into a divine force that few can carry. It is as if heaven itself is collecting what others waste and pouring it back into your spirit as concentrated fire. And with this fire, forgotten chambers within you begin to open. Dormant centers of power, locked away since the day you were born, start to glow like coals receiving oxygen. Your perception sharpens, your emotions intensify, your awareness of both the visible and the invisible heightens. You begin to feel more alive, more present, more connected to forces you cannot yet name. This is the beginning of your metamorphosis, and once it starts, there is no going back. But let me warn you, this is not a comfortable process. The flames of transmutation do not caress you, they burn you into renewal. Old habits become unbearable. Old desires feel empty. Old connections lose their grip. You may feel isolated, misunderstood, even attacked by those who cannot sense the transformation happening inside of you. They will not see the fire rising in your spine. They will not feel the divine voltage in your veins. To them, you may seem restless, distracted, even strange. But the truth is, they are witnessing the birth of someone completely new. The reason this feels so intense is because you are experiencing the same principle that fuels stars. Creation itself runs on this law. Nothing is destroyed, everything is transformed. Your abstinence is not a void, it is an alchemy. And this alchemy is preparing you for authority, for clarity, for supernatural alignment. This is why chosen ones are set apart. Where others surrender to impulse, you are invited to mastery. Where others waste, you are refined. Where others break, you are rebuilt into an instrument of divine will. And here lies the mystery that the world fears. Once your energy is transmuted, it no longer belongs to you alone. It belongs to heaven. It becomes a weapon against darkness, a shield against attacks, a flame that cannot be extinguished by desire or temptation. What once was bound to the flesh now belongs to the spirit, and this shift marks the beginning of your true calling. But if this is just the beginning, then what happens when this fire climbs higher? When it reaches the hidden places of the mind and soul? That is where the real explosions occur, and that is what I will reveal next. Do not move, because what is coming will explain the visions, the telepathic moments, and the prophetic signs you may already be experiencing without understanding. The fire has only started to rise, and its destination will shake the very foundation of who you believe you are. When the fire of transmuted energy begins to rise, it does not move quietly. It ascends like a storm, climbing a mountain, pressing against every locked door in your inner being until those doors burst open. The sexual energy that once remained trapped in the lower parts of the body is no longer content to stay hidden. It seeks upward movement, and as it collides with your energy centers, it creates what can only be described as explosions of consciousness. These are not mild sparks. They are detonations of awareness that rattle the walls of your soul. Suddenly, you are not simply awake. You are awakened. The first sign is often in your head, the pulsing sensation in the space between your eyebrows, as though an unseen finger is knocking from the inside of your forehead. This is your third eye activating, demanding your attention. Prophetic dreams become vivid, sharper than reality itself, so clear that when you wake, you feel like you never left them. These dreams are not random. They are messages, instructions, glimpses of a timeline you are being prepared to walk into. Many ignore them, brushing them off as illusions. But a chosen one knows that every image, every word spoken in that dream state is a seed of revelation planted by God Himself. But the visions do not wait for night. In broad daylight, while walking, eating, or even speaking with someone, you begin to see flashes, fragments of the future, details of events not yet unfolded. You may suddenly know what someone is about to say before they speak it, or sense the weight of their hidden emotions without a single word being exchanged. You start thinking of someone, and moments later they call, message, or appear. These synchronicities are not coincidences. They are the fabric of reality bending to your frequency. You are no longer bound by the illusion of randomness. You have stepped into alignment with a divine pattern that organizes all things. And as your frequency shifts, so does your influence. Strangers begin to open themselves to you without understanding why. They confess secrets they have never told anyone. They look at you and sense something otherworldly, a presence that disarms them, pulls truth out of their mouths, as if they are speaking to a priest, or even to God Himself. Animals, children, and even nature respond differently to your vibration, drawn to the current flowing through you. Every aspect of life starts whispering messages, numbers repeating on clocks, receipts, car plates, all aligning with mysterious precision. The universe is no longer silent around you. It has become an orchestra, and you are standing at the center of its sound. Yet with these gifts comes a new danger. The line between vision and reality begins to blur. You question whether what you saw was a dream or a memory of the future. You wonder if you are losing your mind. But deep down, you know the truth. It is not madness, it is expansion. Your brain, your nervous system, your spirit are being rewired to carry frequencies higher than this world normally allows. The fire that began in your body is now burning through the walls of perception, granting you sight that others cannot handle. This is why many feel fear around you. They do not understand why your gaze unsettles them, why your words carry weight that pierces their conscience. They sense that you see beyond masks, beyond flesh, beyond time itself. And they are right. You do. Your intuition no longer whispers, it roars with certainty. When you sense danger, it manifests. When you perceive opportunity, it appears. When you declare a path, doors open, reality bends, because your vibration demands it. But here is the mystery that will shake you most. The more these explosions of consciousness expand, the less you fit into the old world. Friends will fade, routines will collapse, even the rhythm of your own thoughts will shift. You are not just surviving anymore. You are vibrating in the same current that prophets, saints, and seers once carried. And this current cannot be silenced. It grows, it intensifies, it consumes everything false until only truth remains. The question is, what happens when this fire reaches its highest point? When the energy not only opens your perception, but begins to test your soul at its core. That is the next stage, and it will reveal why many chosen ones crumble under the pressure, while a few ascend to authority. Stay close, because what is coming will not only explain your strange battles, but expose the supreme test you are already standing in without even realizing it. Every chosen soul that carries divine fire must face the furnace of trial, because God never releases true power without first proving the vessel that will hold it. And for the chosen ones, the greatest test does not come in the battlefield of swords or in the noise of crowds. It comes in silence, in abstinence, in the raw place where flesh cries out for satisfaction and spirit demands restraint. Sexual abstinence, when extended, becomes more than a decision of the body. It becomes the supreme trial of the soul. It begins quietly. At first, you believe you can handle it. You even feel stronger, cleaner, more focused. But then, when you least expect it, shadows from your past return. A voice you have not heard in years suddenly sends you a message. Someone who once stirred your desires reappears, dressed in temptation, offering themselves with timing too perfect to be coincidence. These are not random encounters. They are divine examinations. They are spiritual X-rays, exposing whether you are ready to rule your nature or whether your nature still rules you. The trial deepens as opportunities you never imagined open before you, but not opportunities for growth, opportunities for weakness. Strangers begin to notice you with unusual intensity. Invitations that once seemed rare now come almost daily. You wonder, why is all of this happening exactly now, when I committed myself to purity? And here lies the hidden truth. Your abstinence is not invisible. It is spiritual fragrance. It emits a signal into the unseen realm that both heaven and hell can smell. Heaven watches to confirm your discipline. Darkness lurks to see if you can be lured back into chains. And while external temptations press against you, the internal war grows louder. Your own mind begins to betray you. Thoughts rise like storms. Why are you doing this? What's the point? Everyone else is free. Why cage yourself? You're exaggerating, you're crazy, you're wasting your youth, your time, your life. These whispers, though they sound like your own, are tests, refined strategies to break your will. It is not merely lust you are resisting, it is the illusion of normality, the seduction of mediocrity, the gravitational pullback into a life that looks comfortable but strips you of destiny. Even those closest to you, your family, your friends, people who love you in their own way, will not understand. They will say, "You've changed. You're too isolated. You're too intense. You're obsessed." To them, your transformation looks like insanity. They cannot see the wings forming beneath your skin. They only see the cocoon closing around you. But listen carefully. Heaven does not call you crazy. Heaven calls you sacred. Heaven calls you set apart. And it is at this exact point of misunderstanding that most chosen ones collapse. They cannot handle the pressure of ridicule, the weight of solitude, the roar of temptation. They step back, convincing themselves that it was all too much, that it was better to blend in with the crowd. But those who endure, those who walk through this furnace without bowing to lust, without bending to social pressure, without betraying their higher call, these are the ones who emerge with authority that shakes realms. This is why your test is so severe, so relentless, so painful. It is not proof of your weakness. It is evidence of your potential. The more intense the temptation, the greater the destiny waiting on the other side. The supreme test is not about denying your humanity. It is about mastering it. It is about showing God that you are ready to steward the very energy that shapes worlds. Flesh wants release. Spirit demands refinement. And the war between the two is the crucible that forges the truly anointed. Every time you say no, your yes to destiny grows louder in heaven. Every time you resist, you carve your name deeper into eternity. But here lies the unspoken question. What reward awaits those who pass this brutal trial? What powers are unlocked in the souls that prove themselves unshakable? Because if this test is supreme, then the prize must be beyond imagination. And in the next revelation, you will see exactly what happens when a chosen one refuses to bow and instead rises into the realm of divine authority. For those who endure the storm of temptation, for those who refuse to bend even when the weight feels unbearable, something extraordinary begins to happen. Abstinence, once seen as a cage, reveals itself as a master key, unlocking doors that most of humanity will never even know exist. The chosen ones who pass through the supreme test find themselves walking in a dimension where thoughts, words, and reality are no longer separate. They are fused. What you think begins to manifest. What you declare begins to take form. What you envision in the silence of your spirit begins to materialize with terrifying accuracy. At first it may shock you. You imagine a conversation, and hours later it unfolds word for word. You sense an opportunity, and the next day it appears before your eyes. You speak protection over yourself or your loved ones, and what could have been disaster suddenly dissolves into safety. These are not coincidences. These are not accidents. They are the fingerprints of God proving that your energy, once wasted, is now flowing in perfect alignment with His will. Your abstinence was never about restriction. It was about preparation, about purifying the channel so His power could move through you without interference. And this is where the shift becomes undeniable. Your very presence begins to alter environments. You walk into a room and the atmosphere changes. People feel it, but cannot explain it. Some are drawn to you, comforted by an invisible peace, as if their soul recognizes sanctuary in your energy. Others become restless, even hostile, because the light you carry exposes the shadows they've been hiding. You are no longer simply a person. You are a carrier of frequencies that disrupt the ordinary. Heaven flows through you like a current, and everything around you reacts. Even your dreams no longer feel like dreams. They are blueprints. You wake up realizing that what you saw was not just imagination, but instruction. Night visions become prophetic roadmaps, guiding you through decisions, relationships, and divine timing. And when you follow these instructions, doors swing open that should have been locked. The impossible bends in your favor. What others sweat and bleed for comes into your hands with a grace that feels unfair to those watching. They don't understand that you already paid the price. Your sacrifice of flesh was your investment in spirit. But here is the most shocking twist. You stop chasing pleasure because pleasure itself begins chasing you. Opportunities, abundance, relationships, and experiences that once seemed unattainable start orbiting your life like planets around a burning sun. It is as if the universe itself recognizes your discipline and bows to your frequency. You are no longer begging for scraps. You are commanding banquets. You are no longer praying for open doors. You are walking through gates flung wide because your energy, purified and redirected, demands recognition. This level of power is not just personal, it is generational. The manifestations flowing from your life ripple outward, blessing those connected to you. Family cycles are broken, curses dissolve. paths that were blocked for decades suddenly clear, not just for you, but for everyone attached to your destiny. You realize that your abstinence was never only about your journey, it was about every soul connected to your lineage. The discipline of one chosen becomes the liberation of many. And yet, this is still not the final stage. What you are experiencing now is only the unlocking, the gates of divine power swinging open. But the question remains, once those gates are fully open, what treasure, what destiny, what unimaginable abundance lies behind them? Because if the taste of authority feels this overwhelming, what will happen when you step fully into the inheritance of the sacred? That revelation is next, and it will shatter everything you thought you knew about sacrifice, reward, and the true meaning of divine completion. Here lies the truth the world was never meant to tell you. You were never being deprived, you were being prepared. Every night you wrestled with silence, every moment you felt the ache of denial, every sacrifice of flesh that felt like loss was not punishment, it was planting. What you thought was emptiness was actually a seed buried deep in the soil of eternity. And now the harvest is beginning to rise. You see, abstinence is never about subtracting. It is about multiplying. Heaven does not take without giving back 1,000-fold. The intimacy that awaits you in the future will not resemble the shallow connections of your past. It will not be a fleeting moment of flesh. It will be a union that carries the fingerprints of the divine. Your body will not simply touch another body. Your soul will intertwine with a soul that was written for you before time began. That intimacy will be sacred, multiplied, untouchable by lust, and aligned perfectly with heaven's timing. When that day comes, you will realize that every moment of waiting was worth it, because what you receive will not just satisfy, it will sanctify. And beyond intimacy, look at what God was truly preparing you for. Prosperity that cannot be stolen, sacred love that cannot be corrupted, purpose that cannot be stopped, and miracles that cannot be measured. What the world mocked as loss was actually refinement. What they called foolishness was your training. What they thought was weakness was your crowning strength. God used abstinence not to punish you, but to sharpen you, to strip away what was shallow, so He could entrust you with what is eternal. Do you understand what this means? You were never missing out. While others were drowning in temporary pleasures, you were being set apart for permanent glory. While others wasted their energy chasing validation, yours was being stored, purified, and returned to you as authority. You are stepping into a season where your words carry power, your presence carries weight, and your destiny carries impact that no force of darkness can resist. This is the exchange of heaven, temporary denial for eternal inheritance. And here is the shocking twist. Everything you thought you lost is returning, but transformed. Love will come, but it will be holy. Prosperity will come, but it will be unstoppable. Joy will come, but it will be unshakable. Even pleasure will return, but this time it will be sacred, multiplied, and overflowing with divine purpose. You did not walk through abstinence to be empty. You walked through abstinence to be filled in ways the world cannot understand. This is why you had to suffer. This is why you had to be misunderstood. This is why you had to walk alone. Because the crown that God is about to place on your head is not for the many. It is for the few who endured. The world calls it loss, but heaven calls it preparation. The world sees absence, but God sees abundance. The world saw you as lonely, but God saw you as chosen. And yet, this is not the end. Because if this was only preparation, then the real question burns before you now. What happens when the chosen one steps fully into the destiny for which they were prepared? What happens when the one refined by fire finally wears the crown of glory? That answer is coming, and it will shake every belief you ever had about who you are and what you are capable of becoming. You thought you were missing out, but heaven was preparing you for overflow. The silence, the fire, the loneliness. It was never punishment. It was divine training. Every moment of resistance was chiseling you into a vessel of unshakable strength. And now you are